All right, let's talk about something that I know can be a real headache in English: modal verbs. But trust me, it doesn't have to be confusing. We're going to break this whole thing down step by step so you can feel totally confident using them.
So, let's jump right in with a classic. You must do it, or you should do it. Which one's right? Well, here's the thing. They're both correct. But that one tiny little word, must versus should, completely changes the feeling of the sentence. And that's really the whole point of modal verbs.
So what are these things, really? Let's get right to the simple answer. No complicated grammar terms, I promise.
Okay, think of it like this. The main verb, like run or speak or eat, that's the star of your sentence. A modal verb is like its trusty helper or sidekick. It doesn't do the action itself, but it comes in and adds a special flavor or meaning to that action.
And what kind of flavors are we talking about? Well, a whole bunch. They can show possibility. Like, it might rain. They can show ability. She can swim. They help with permission, obligation, advice, requests. They do so much, which is exactly why picking the right one makes you sound so much clearer and more natural.
Now, before we even start thinking about which modal to choose, let's lock in the foundation. There are 3 super simple, let's call them golden rules, that modal verbs always follow. Get these down, and you'll sidestep the most common mistakes right away.
And these rules are awesome because they're so consistent. 1. They're lazy. They never change their own form. 2. The verb that comes after them is always the simple base version. And 3. Making them negative is a piece of cake. Let's see what that actually looks like.
First up, no form changes. This is huge. Unlike other verbs, you never ever add an S to a modal verb. It's always he can, she must, it will. Never he cans or she musts. See? Simple? Just lock that in your brain.
And rule number 2, the verb that follows the modal is always in its simplest form. It's often called the base verb, and, this is important, there's no to between them. So it's I must leave, not I must to leave. Just the modal, then the plain verb. That's the combo.
And the third golden rule is about negatives. It's so easy. You don't need helpers like do or does. You just stick not right after the modal verb. I cannot swim. You should not worry. Easy as that. You'd never say I don't can swim.
Okay, you've got the rules down. That's the science part. Now let's get into the art of it. How to actually choose the right modal verb for what you want to say. This is where you go from just being correct to really communicating well. And here's the real secret to making the right choice. It pretty much always comes down to 2 things: how much power or strength you want to express, and how polite you need to be. If you think about it this way, it all starts to click into place.
Check this out. We can actually think of possibility as having a power level. If you say something can happen, you're pretty sure, like 80% sure. But if you say it might happen, well, you're much less certain, down at 30%. So choosing between can, could, may, and might is like turning a dial on how certain you feel.
And the same idea works for giving advice. If you tell a friend, you must see this movie, that's a command. It's 100% strength. But if you say, you should see it, that's just strong advice. And you might want to see it, that's a really soft, gentle suggestion. The word you choose completely changes the feeling.
This is also a game changer for making requests. Asking, can you help me, is perfectly fine, but it's pretty direct. If you want to be a bit more polite, maybe to a teacher or your boss, just switching to could you or would you makes you sound so much more considerate. It's a small change with a big impact.
All right, you're doing great. You've got the rules, you've got the strategy. Let's just do a final polish and clear up 2 really common mix-ups that even native speakers get wrong sometimes.
Okay, first up, talking about the past. When we speak fast, must have can sound like must of, and so a lot of people write it that way, but that's always incorrect. The correct phrase is the modal verb followed by have, so it's he must have gone or I should have studied. Now listen up, because this one is so important. Mustn't and don't have to look similar, but their meanings are worlds apart. You mustn't smoke here means it's forbidden, it's against the rules. But you don't have to come just means there's no obligation. You can if you want, but it's not necessary. Getting that distinction right is huge. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground, so let's pull it all together into one simple place. Think of this next slide as your master key for modals, a quick guide you can always come back to. So here it is, your go-to cheat sheet. It connects the modal verb directly to its strength level and its most common job, whether you're giving strong advice with must, making a polite request with could, or just talking about a slight possibility with might. This is a fantastic tool to have handy when you're writing or just feeling a little stuck.
And there you have it.
You've got the rules, the strategy, and the master key. You've gone from that feeling of confusion to having real clarity. So now you know how one little word can change everything. Your power, your politeness, your meaning. The only question is, what will you say first?